Grind Infinity is actually recorded or created by our speaker today. His name, he goes by Archer. You can get this on your iPhone or your iPad right now. And Archer is here with us to kind of talk about, being a game developer. He is, and I'd love for him to give us a little bit of his history. So, Archer, if you can, talk to us a little bit. Tell us about what you
Yep.
do, and talk to us a little bit about how you got started in this, man.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. This is Archer. So I was invited to do a little bit workshop here. I'm in the game industry just over 10 years. I was lucky enough when I graduated, I got a job in a mobile game studio, and later the studio got bought by Ubisoft. So I stayed there for roughly 9.5 years. Until recently, me and a couple of like ex Ubisoft, we created a new studio, like a new startup, to carry on our developing games. And the game I'll just show you is one of my side projects. It's like I use off work time to do a little bit of research. So my background is I study animation in college, and I carry on study animation for the master degree in UK. For animation, I actually was doing like stop motion animations when I was in the master degree. But when I was in college, I have a very strong traditional drawing skills, and that kind of laid the foundation of my all art skills. Um, and so when I first got into the industry, I was more like a 2D artist, and I actually shipped even some pixel art titles. And I start to use Unity around 2012 or 2013. I can't remember the detailed date, but it was Unity 3. So it's roughly just like the beginning of the Unity era. All of the developers start to see, oh, I don't need to export my game onto every single platform, but I just need to buy this Unity and then click a button, it will export it for me. So that's roughly my background.
Okay, so you went to college, you studied art, you got into Ubisoft. What did you start out as?
I started as a junior artist.
Junior artist, and what did
Yeah,
you work on at that point?
it was the one of the earliest Hungry Shark game. So at the time, it was 2010 and 2011. Those from 2009, 2010, 2011, that 3 years, it was the mobile game rising era. I think like Angry Bird was 2010 or something, and our studio were lucky enough to had a game called Hungry Shark that's actually got quite fair downloads, and it's still making a lot of money, I think, for Ubisoft now.
Wow, so that game was made a, almost a decade ago, and it's still generating income.
Yeah, So as like Ubisoft, we like to milk the IPs, so there's a Hungry Shark 1, 2, 3, and Hungry Shark Evolution, and Hungry Shark World. I think the latest is the Hungry Shark World, and
Okay.
it was maybe 5, 6 years ago. Can't remember.
Okay. Now, were these created using Unity at the time? Or were they using something else?
The first couple of Hungry Sharks, they were using a software called Tile Studio. It's just JavaScript and Tile Studio together, and we have to write our own physics and stuff. At that time, the mobile market wasn't very competitive. So I remember the same year. Remember the Doodle Jump game? That was making like tons of money.
Hmm.
But if you release something like that now, nobody gonna look at it.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
So yeah. So
so
on the go, we keep update our tech, update our art.
okay,
So for the beginning, it was just to try to release a game on the platform, and that's already an achievement.
right.
Later, we got into more and more and more stuff.
Okay, okay. So that was back when there was like the iPhone, I guess, like 4 or 5, and you guys were starting to release on
It was like 3GS, I believe.
3GS
Yeah.
way back then.
Yeah.
Okay. So how big was the team? Like, because I know the huge mobile mode back in 2012, 2013, everybody was diving into it. It was basically
Yeah.
money was being printed in order to, if you posted something up.
Yeah.
How much did Ubisoft invest at that point into getting into this space? Were they just like, I have to run at this, or
So I can only tell you roughly. Um, it's tens of millions,
Mhm,
and they acquire studios very aggressively
mhm,
because you know for the beginning of any like a new opportunity, I think to be honest, the luck is a bigger factor than like other things. So if something's already working, and the best chance is just to buy it straight away.
mhm.
And once you get enough portfolio, you have a thing here. So I think that's the most of the publisher wants. Um, like I said, they acquire studio very quickly, and I think recent year they acquired a couple of more studios doing they call hyper casual games.
Mhm.
It's very cheap to make and very quick. I mean, to test, you can have like a 10 different game release, and if one of it is working, and then you put a huge UA budget on it, and you're gonna get money back.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right, so you were working in this, and then eventually Ubisoft went from that tile program they're using to Unity, and but you were using Unity before then. Was it an easy transition for them to make, or was it a difficult one? Did they only have specific teams working on Unity at that time?
No, we start very small team, and everyone have to work together and know a little bit of everything. And for the transition, Unity is definitely a much better tool than what we had before. And also, as an artist, um, it's just much easier to implement stuff. So you can have a like visualized interface, other than you just create art, give to coder, and you never know where they're gonna put it and how it's gonna be.
Mhm.
So yeah, Unity at the time was really advanced, I think, for mobile developing. Yeah.
Okay. So you've seen Unity since 3. What do you think
Mhm.
were like the big changes that really made Unity like, yeah, this is the software that we need to get into. This is what I want to stick with because what they added here has really made this valuable to
Um, I think for me, because I'm a mobile developer, it's one of the big engine that's very good at optimization stuff. So for the game I'm making, the side project Grand Infinity, it started as a side research because in last 2 years they were trying to revamp their render pipelines. The new they call universal render pipeline. It's much more efficient, and I start to look at that, and because it's scriptable and it has the shader graph package, so it enable artists to just create your own shader, and it's optimized enough to run on things. So just tell you one quick number. So before, if you put several objects in the scene, unless this object is roughly like 300 words, or I can't remember the detail, so very, very low words, uh, they can be batched, and they can't use the different materials, they can't use the different textures. So if you have like a 100 item, with different material. It's going to be 100 draw call. But the latest render pipeline, if they have 100 material, but this 100 material are using the same shader, and they can be batched in one draw call. That's like a huge saving on performance. So yeah, I was testing all these when I'm making this game. So what you see on the screen are basically pretty much all using the same shader. So there's still other limitations how a work can be batched or what can't be batched, but it's still a huge boost. So you can tell that in later levels, there's like hundreds of little enemies running on the screen with the special shaders, and it still runs fun. And I think it can run on very low-end device up to something like a Galaxy S4 or 5.
Okay. So yeah, so the pipelines, can you give us, because I know that was like, what is, because I know some of our students we introduce them first to the standard pipelines so they can get accustomed to just using materials and using shaders in Unity. But can you explain in kind of like a high level vision what is so great about the new URP system, specifically when it comes to the shader graph, specifically when it comes to using URP versus the standard?
Yeah. Okay. So I think basically the URP, you have the shader graph package. That's already a huge boost. You as an artist, you can't write shader code. It's a very difficult language. For standard pipeline, if you want to create a special shader, you have to learn all that. But for the new URP, you basically just drag a couple of nodes and it's already working. And also one of the great things about Unity is if you have seen something, you like it, you just search. There's definitely a tutorial somewhere. So it's very easy to find and very easy to put something together. Yeah, so node-based shader, it just enable the artist a lot. So before we have to hire a special, like a shader specialist for really high, big money, and it's very difficult to find these kind of people as well, because these people normally, for the shader background coder, were from the like OpenGL kind of era, so they know how the thing render inside out. And you have to communicate with them to say what you want. And when they come back to you, normally it's a lot of back and forth until you get it right. But for the shader graph, you just drag a couple of nodes and you connect it and you see directly the result, what it is. Yeah, and for my current job, our art director is actually the guy who makes shaders now, other than tech directors.
Okay. So you're still working, and you decide this research project is going to grow into something bigger. How did Grind Infinity come about from
So for me, my biggest goal for this game is because I'm an artist, I know a little bit code, but I'm not a like proper coder. So I wanted to test my skill for like all these 10 years experience putting together how much I can do. So I start with a shader, and I start with a simple like enemy and shooting and a control system. And my goal is actually just to release a game I feel happy with, because now it's really difficult to say, oh, I want to make money in the market. This is even the biggest company, they can't say that. So normally now the mobile game release plan, it's a very long period of soft launching and a huge UA budget. That's for like biggest company. you can never compete with that with like a small indie developer, especially like me, like solo on this game. So for me, I just want to put something together and release it, and that's my achievement. Um, yeah, so it hasn't got too many downloads to my list, just a few hundred or something.
Mhm.
Also, I didn't release it for free because I have released a couple of free games before. So first, if you want to make money on free games, you either put ads or put in-app,
Mhm.
which are not like proper. Well, there's some controversial here. I mean, I want to make a game. You play, you just enjoy it, and if you don't mind paying like $1, $2 to play it, yeah, you play it. And I want to make money from it to cover my costs. You have a license, and you have the what's that called? The store subscription fee and stuff. So at least I get that back. So I just strip off all the IP or ads. It's just a self-contained boss fight from beginning to the end game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It is tough to make money off of the mobile games, and in fact, we talked to a lot of companies that do hyper casual, and they're churning out a game once a week, and it's not
Mm.
about making the greatest, most fantastic, amazing game ever. It's about finding the game that clicks, that is just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it catches, it gets viral, and it moves, and you make that money
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
But to do that,
It's more.
you have to
Yeah,
invest in like 50 games before you hit that one that really knocks it.
yeah. It's more A/B testing and the UA other than like proper game developing.
Mhm.
So this game I'm making, I just want to make a game and I feel, yeah, this is a good game. I enjoyed it. That's my goal basically.
Yeah, we talked to another company whose entire business model was they would hire people to build hyper casual games, and they'd pay them a certain amount of money, and they're willing to take a loss of $100,000 just hiring different developers to buy hyper
Mm,
casual games, because they know that that one game that actually does work is going to make them a million, and they're going to get all that money back, and then they just do the same thing over and over again, to see
yeah.
if it's successful. Very cool. So you created Grind Infinity. It's currently out. And I'll play it without the music because it'll probably be like overwhelming, and it's probably like super slow bit rate, chugging along right now anyway. But you created this dual stick video game experience for the iOS, or I'm sorry, for mobile and an iPad, tablet,
Yeah, I was an Android.
and Android. So I see a lot of amazing things going on here, a lot of lightning, a lot of really cool explosions, a lot of really trippy effects here. Talk to me a little bit about what went into that.
Yeah. So as I said, it started as a research on shader graph and the URP.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what I'm trying to do is to take advantage of their mobile performance stuff. So if you use like one shader, but make that to different material variants, it's still going to be just a very low draw call. So also for the light render pipeline, you can just strip all the lighting. So in this game, there's only custom lighting there's no real lighting, but
Oh, really? Okay.
I made the effect feels like there's a lighting. So when you see an explosion, that's like a particle additive,
Okay.
and when you see uh, it, when you see the actual object, I just use it's normal to generate the lighting and shadows and stuff.
I have seen this technique done before. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Can
yeah.
you explain that to the group so that they kind of have a better understanding of that
Okay,
concept?
yeah. So basically, uh, all the object you import into the game space automatically it has its normal. So it knows up, down, left, right, front, and back.
Yep.
And with that information, you can just say, okay, I want to all the objects normal up to be brighter and the other side to be darker. And you can, with the shader graph nodes, you can very specifically control like the gradients between top to bottom, left to right, and over the space. So basically, you don't rely on any of the lighting. So you can skip all the lighting,
Gotcha.
but you tell the objects where it's brighter, where it's darker.
So he's using backlighting in essence, using the normal channel to create the backlighting, which is why you could see like the rim light on all of these objects. It's really not a light projecting this light onto this. It's using the normal channel to create a gradient on objects that are in that particular angle on the normal. Very, very cool technique. Now, what about this grid right here? Explain to me what the concept was behind this grid and how you got it to sort of like bend in space.
Yeah. So the whole thing is like a sci-fi set in space kind of thing. So if you are like sci-fi fan, you know that anything with gravity kind of warp the space. I kind of want to create that kind of feel. So you are in an empty space, but you are react with it. It's a very simple shader actually. It's the same way in some of the game you going through a jungle, so the foliage move when you move into it. It's actually the same technique. So it detects the position of the player and the vertices of the floor will push into the different direction of its normal direction. So yeah, it's actually really cheap.
Interesting. Very cool. And that can't be done, of course, in the standard unless you want to code it yourself. This
Of
is
course, yeah.
exclusively done in the URP using the VFX shader graph. Then we got these fantastic lightning explosions. That's one thing that I saw right here. Give you an idea of how this was concocted.
So this I used one of the package I find on the store.
Okay.
It's a really clever. I kind of know what to do, but I didn't bother to do myself. It just in Unity there's something called line renderer, and in the line renderer you can set in between as many dots, kind of vertices you want,
Mhm.
and you can control the position of that. It's basically a laser, but uh, in the middle of the laser, you set different points and randomly move that.
Very cool. And then I'm assuming when you have these explosions up here, like let's say this box right up here, you're instantiating a new set of boxes that are exploding out via like a particle system of some sort.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the material are all you can see the enemy, the background, the explosion particles, all that are using exactly the same shader generated material variants.
Mm-hmm.
So that save a lot of performance. So without URP, this game can't even run on like
Incredible, incredible.
yeah the latest phone.
And then I'm assuming all of these little flashes and things like that. These are they just particles or are they
Yeah, they just
instantaneous?
Yeah, they're just particle. It's just additive.
Additive particles, that's all it is.
Yeah,
Ah, very cool. And what about these laser beams right here that you have?
it's a it's pretty much the same to the lightning.
Hmm.
Uh, it's a line renderer with additive.
I gotcha.
So normally if you go for additive, it's cheaper than alpha.
Mhm.
So if you use graphical alpha, it's gonna be more expensive.
Mm.
So yeah, a lot of this stuff you can't find it uh, like a proper uh, way to explain why this is more expensive and stuff, and that you don't really need to know.
Mhm.
It just you tried it and it's not working, then you just change it. It suddenly worked,
Uh-huh.
and you can see sometimes in the profiler you just switch one little toggle, and the spike just gone. But
Gotcha.
yeah, the more you're in the industry, the more tricks and tips you're gonna notice.
Okay. Now, Richard had a question. He had a question about sales. What kind of marketing did you do for Grind Infinity? Did you use a
Uh,
producer or did you use a partnership or anything, or did you just completely just wing it?
Basically, as I said, this is my personal project for like research and having fun myself. I only just put stuff on my social network. I don't have anyone to help me. I had a guy, um, so he knows some of the tricks of how you can win promotions on a platform,
Mhm.
but it's not guaranteed. For Google Play Store, there's no person to talk to promote your game, but for Apple Store, there's actually people, if you know, they might give you a little promotion.
Mhm.
And also in on Apple, there's a page you can send like details of your game to like self promote yourself, and there will be a team to select the people who has sent them email. But if you don't send any email, there will be no chance.
Mhm.
Also on Apple Store, I know if your game has more than 12 languages,
Mhm.
it's more likely to be selected. And also, if you have more features of Apple services like Game Center and stuff, it'll be easier. I've done a couple of those, and I didn't get picked basically. But in the middle, I've learned a couple of things. It's not difficult to do, but it's worth to give a try.
Was it easy doing both deployment to the Play, Google Play, and iOS, or was it easier doing one versus the other? And what changes did you have to make to make it work for both?
So yeah, Google Play is quite easy to deploy a build on the store, and the screen information. Sorry, the screenshot and stuff is not so much requirement. But
Mhm.
for iOS, they you have to send them three different sizes of every screenshot, and
Mhm.
if you have different languages, you have to do the localization stuff. And the backend of Apple Store Connect wasn't very good to use. It's I don't know, like Apple's supposed to be the best like UX, like user experience, but I'd say it's the best UX for users, not developers.
Right, right, right. I I remember deploying back in 2015 or something like that, 2016 maybe, to Apple. And there was maybe like a 50-step process in order to get your game up onto the App Store. And
Yeah,
then I tried it again, I want to say like a year ago, and I was shocked to see how much easier it has become, where it was literally like a 3-step process and I was done.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, that's incredible. Okay, so let's see. Richard says, "Are you planning on making more Grind Infinity game levels or a different genre? What's the future hold?" And also, The next question after that is this your full-time gig or are you still working while building these games?
Yeah, this is my side project, but it's my how to say, because this Grand Infinity is like my full credit, so it's not like I'm a part of something, so like something I own, so that makes me feel good, even like if financially it's not gonna boost me at my life or anything. So at the moment I work for a studio called Robo Squid. So we make free to play mobile games, and we are aiming to move from mobile to PC and console more, because we're specialized on like a slightly high end graphic on mobile.
Mhm.
So I believe some of the content we made really holds up on like big screens on big consoles. For future plan for Grand Infinity, I think um, I'll keep an eye on it if there's some demand for more levels. It's actually not very difficult for me to make new bosses and stuff, because I really enjoy making these bosses. So if you haven't played, the game is all about boss fight. So you fight a boss, and then you merge into that boss, and then you fight a bigger one, and you merge into a bigger one. So just getting bigger and bigger, bigger, and you weapon stuff is getting crazy in the end. But
Nice.
the enemies are getting really difficult as well. So I'm a big fan of something like a Shadow of Colossus. I'm a big fan of Monster Hunter. It's just like a one little guy versus a giant enemy. That's kind of my thing.
So speaking of games, like what is the game that inspired you to get into game development?
uh, my first game that it's like become a part of me. Uh, you might not have heard of it. It's called Dune 2000.
No, I've never played it.
Yeah,
What was it on?
it was on PC. It was the same time for Command and Conquer.
Okay.
The Red Alert people made that. It was the same, similar like RTS, but it's a set as a Dune universe. Uh, I was like in primary school or something, and I just played that all day.
Right.
And I got into this mecha, uh, like robots, sci-fi thingy.
Nice. And what are
And
you playing today then?
what I played today, uh, I because I got two kids, I don't have that much time to play anymore. I still play some mobile games. I think the last console game I played is all on a Switch, because I don't have the luxury to sit in front of TV and hold my controller for
Right.
5 hours. So I only can when they all go into the bed, I took my Switch off and play a couple games. I quite into Smash Bros. And
Okay.
I when I was in the Ubisoft in the like big office, I was in the tournaments and I did quite well.
And can you tell us a little bit about what you're creating over at Robot Squad as well?
There was we're making a game called the King of Crabs. So it's basically a battle royale but with crabs. So our tech director is a really brilliant guy. Uh, he uh, he find a way to have a very low latency on like 100 player on the map,
Mm-hmm.
and with very low server costs. So the what's that snake game called? Something .io, Slither.io. So
Is this the right one? King of
yeah, that's
Crabs?
the one. Yeah, that's the right one. Yeah,
This is awesome.
yeah. It's a free. You should try it. It's a lot of fun.
So are
um,
you a crab that fights other crabs, or
yeah,
Like I see a turtle over here. Is
Yeah,
that
that's a NPC.
and he has
So
an
there,
axe. What am I seeing this correct? They have weapons.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is
Uh,
incredible.
we even put like something like a rocket launcher in it.
That is epic. And where are you guys based out of?
We're based in London,
Gotcha. Oh my
so
gosh.
we're like spread all over the world.
Oh
There's a
man.
guy in New York, there's a guy in Singapore, uh, and uh, some of the people they don't live in London, they live in Cambridge or Manchester. So
How
we're
is
a
it?
very small team.
How does it feel? How is it working remotely? And how did you guys decide? Yeah, this is the person that needs to be on our team.
So most of us know each other for a long time. We work together for a long time,
Mhm.
and for the new members, we definitely like. Normally, we say, "Oh, we know someone that knows someone that actually good."
Mhm.
So we don't normally take a random people from recruiter or something
Right.
because we've seen. Oh, sorry, my kids.
Oh no.
Um, uh, we've seen something like that. Oh, this guy got a super cool portfolio or have a huge background in the LinkedIn. And we hired this guy, and he looks super nice. And after 6 months, you just notice that it's not gonna work. Normally, you have to be assured this guy is good for like before you hire. Sorry about
I
that.
love it. I got two upstairs right now, so that's okay. This is incredible. This is good stuff. Um, and most of these people you've probably met through working at Ubisoft at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and what is your current work schedule like now?
So I'm just normal like 10 to 6. It's like working time. And when I got time, I do some sketches for my next game. Uh, I I I, I want to take it easy from start, not take so hard, but not finishing anything.
Yeah, yeah,
That's my yeah.
perfect. Excellent. Well, hey Archer, thank you so much for spending some time with us
All right,
today
thank
and
you for
hopping
inviting me.
online. We're definitely going to share this with everyone. And is it okay if our students ping you and find you on LinkedIn and connect with you
Yeah,
and try to
sure.
keep you in our circle? Um, that would be
I'll send
fantastic.
I'll send my link.
Just so you guys know, Archer doesn't. I don't think that's a real name. Something else that starts with a Y, but hard to pronounce.
Yeah, so my Chinese name is Ifan Duan. Because when I moved here, I know that it's not very easy to pronounce. So I let all my friends just call me Archer. It's easy to remember and easy to pronounce.
Absolutely. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for this. If you want to just hang out a second, everyone else, thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us, and really appreciate you talking to us. And do you have any final words to tell to everybody who are looking to become aspiring game developers?
It's difficult to say something really cool to end it, but I want to say like if you're already in the game industry, living your dream, and if you're not, living your dream as well.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in.